Joe, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm actually quite excited about this because I think for the guests that I've had on, they've been fairly seasoned is probably the kind way to say it.
Yeah.
But they've achieved a lot. They've been through the trials, the tribulations and stuff like that. But you're probably more at the beginning part of your journey.
Absolutely.
So excited to get into that and just understand what that's been like. And there might be people out there who've probably got that itch and they're thinking, I wouldn't mind giving it a go. So no, thanks for coming on. To get into it, I guess, where did the whole idea for Arlo Fulfilment come?
Great question. So growing up, I grew up sort of in the logistics space. So my family owned a logistics company, primarily around sort of B2B warehousing.
Right.
So they had quite a large site in our hometown, and my dad and my oldest brother actually ran it. So it was kind of one of my first sort of Saturday jobs, if you will, sort of going in, picking pallets and sort of, getting my head around sort of warehousing, logistics. And I think it was just something I really sort of was really fascinated by and kind of fell in love with that kind of idea of. So I think it was planted in me then.
Yeah.
And my dad's side as well, they're all kind of in logistics. They're all lorry drivers as well. So it's just really rooted in us, I think.
Yeah.
But that kind of part of the business moved on. And sort of as I grew up, I then went into the logistics space. So I started off, I wanted to set up my own business. I knew that. Mm-hmm. And I did want it to be in logistics, but I wanted to go and first work for other people.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to learn sales as well. So that was one thing that I really wanted to go out and kind of master. I knew if I wanted to, it's probably a good idea to work for other people first and learn that under them. So I worked in first supplying HGV trailers to logistics companies. So that was kind of nice. Got really on sort of the transport side and learning that. And then from there kind of progressed into sort of managing teams within that company. And then my kind of next venture was into a company called Mintsoft, which is a warehouse management system. So I then moved into there where I was selling into 3PLs primarily, actually. So I really then got a lot more insight into kind of fulfillment centers, what worked, what didn't work. And sort of seeing the good, bad and the ugly of everybody. But also seeing sort of really exciting things happening in the industry from that perspective, which was really, really big. And then it kind of got to the point there where me and my wife had a beauty business, and I thought, I really want to go and jump into a business sort of full time now. So my plan was to leave and go into that. Then kind of the stars aligned and I got offered some warehouse space locally to where I was. And originally they'd asked me to sort of broker it and sort of fill it for them because of sort of the connections I had, which I started doing. And then I thought, actually, this could be the perfect opportunity for us to start up our own fulfillment center. So sort of came back, mentioned it to my wife, and then sort of pen to paper and sort of putting a business plan in place to kind of pull the trigger on it, really.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So would you say, like, how old were you when you decided, did you know you wanted to have your own, like, how old were you when you decided you wanted to have your own logistics company?
From a kid, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for as long as I can remember, I think going into the warehouse at like 13, 14.
Fair.
I think from there it was kind of like.
And what was your dad's business called? Is it still going now?
It's not now.
Okay.
No. It was at ITL. That's what it was called. But
right.
No.
I didn't know whether you were sat on a big one like, it's just called DHL or something
not
like that.
Not quite.
Fair. Okay. It's interesting because, like, I guess you've kind of touched on it, like you've almost orchestrated your way there basically, and obviously got into the tech side of things with Mintsoft and the Hawley stuff, which is pretty cool. And what was you mentioned it was like a month before your wedding.
Yeah.
You pulled the trigger. Like, what was that like, and what were some of the things that you were having to sort of do and balance in that period?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make sense to do it then.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. In terms of, typically just before your wedding, sort of giving up your financial safety net isn't normally the most, smartest decision, if you will. But I knew that kind of the offer that we got with the warehouse, it was kind of, we could negotiate a good term for a rent-free period, and we could sort of get stuck in.
Yeah.
So it was a real balance. And, I think as you'll know, it's all about taking risk in starting out. And, it's not something that I just thought of overnight. It was something I'd been thinking of for years about doing. So I think, the plans were there, the intentions were there, the purpose and the mission was there. But it was a lot to balance, and it was a lot to, have to give up a lot.
Did you already start brokering that warehouse before you signed to take ownership, or?
Yeah, so I'd sort of started to get the ball rolling on a couple of deals going in, to kind of really just take the space over, fill it with pallets, and then kind of as we was going on that journey and things were sort of being delayed, it was kind of a toss up of, do I fill it or do I take it?
Yeah.
And I pondered on that for quite a while, because I didn't know if I had it in me to kind of pull the trigger and do it. Because, like I said, logically, the timing wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a bit of a 50-50 before I was like, okay, no, let's just
I guess the deal being on the table is the thing that probably got you to push you to do it, essentially.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think because it's a lovely warehouse, and great location, really secure, really safe. It was kind of perfect for e-com brands that would want to be in a nice, safe space.
Yeah.
And in Milton Keynes, which is a nice central location as well. So
center of the universe.
Exactly that. So everything kind of was like, it's too perfect to say no.
Got you. Yeah. Interesting. Did you still have a honeymoon?
We did. It was just about.
yeah.
We just set up, and on our wedding, people were asking us where our honeymoon is. Was like, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And we just sort of had a bit of a gap before our first customers were moving in, and we quickly sort of
That's pretty cool.
The bullet.
Yeah. Well, glad you got it in at least. And okay, so where's in fact, with the warehousing contract, was there anything that you came as like a surprise, or that you felt, oh, this is going to be a tough negotiation? Was there anything like that you felt? Yeah, it was.
I think it's tough. I think because you're looking at the number on the paper when you got to start paying rent.
Yeah.
And it looks scary, and it's like, can we get there?
Mm-hmm.
Can we, because you've got that bit of rent-free period.
I was going to ask, how long was the rent-free period?
3 months.
And did they do that just to allow you like ramp up to be able to get, so it's not dead cost basically?
Yeah.
It's like an incentive to take it.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just for us to kind of be able to get our feet under, and be able to sort of, kind of get where we need to be and get it set up to be able to start paying rent. So.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get your first customer?
That's a good question. I think I want to say it was maybe 3-4 weeks.
Oh, was it? See, that's quite, from my understanding, that's quite quick. From cradle to grave there. Just because, from my understanding, it's like quite a long sales cycle, but maybe that's determined on the size of the brand. But like,
typically it is. I mean, we work with a lot of, especially then, smaller brands coming in, but typically our sales cycle is longer.
Got you.
But again, it all kind of just lined up where the first few people in the door was quite quick cycles actually.
Yeah, got you. No, it's it sounds like you had a great start. Where did the name Arlo Fulfilment come from?
So, I mean, I can't take all the credit for that. As I mentioned before, my wife had a beauty business which was called Arlo Beauty. I'm not that creative when it comes to names, and I wasn't too fussed, in terms of what it was called, but we wanted it to remain, kind of in solidarity with all our brands.
Part of her empire, essentially.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly. And we wanted to, tie in our own beauty brand as part of the, the statement, and, also being owned by an e-com brand that's also doing your fulfillment, I think sort of provides a real value add.
Yeah.
Because we understand what it's like. So we wanted to kind of keep everything uniform. And we thought we'd stick with the name.
And I guess from a, let's say, a starting out guide, what was the 1, 2, 3 steps that you took to to get it going or get it started? What would you say, if I was going to go again, a really clean way of approaching it would be X, Y, Z?
First of all is the systems and processes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I didn't want to cut corners on was, I've seen a lot from my time at Mintsoft of 3PLs that will start out without any systems or processes in place.
Yeah.
And that just gets very messy because you're not scanning things properly. There's no barcode verification on the pick. So then your pick accuracy comes down.
Mm-hmm.
Your stock accuracy is then out. Your billing perspective to your customers is, not clean. It's not organized. So I wanted to make sure that however much it had to cost, that we had the money to be able to have the right systems in place. So first of all, I wrote down, I knew Mintsoft. So obviously I went there and got the system in place from them. I wanted to make sure we had, barcode scanners, the printers, everything that we needed to operationally not cut corners. And then from there, especially coming from a sales background, it was like, okay, now it's customer focused. It's, all about obviously getting people in the warehouse, filling it up, and the right people as well, not just anybody. And that's something that I would always recommend is, it's easy just to sign everybody and, fill the warehouse up, but you've got to look about, what do we need? Who do we need in here to actually remain commercially sustainable? So that was sort of big for me as well.
Okay. Yeah. And describing that then, what's your perfect, what's the ICP, ideal customer profile?
For us, it's smaller goods e-com brands.
Yeah.
So, supplement brands, we have quite a lot of those with us. Supplements, beauty brands, people with sort of small products, preferably lower skewed and, fast moving turnaround of stock, goods in, goods out. It's quite nice and quick. The beauty, I think, is there's so many fulfillment centers out there that can cater for loads of different things, furniture, bulky goods. And for us, it's more sort of smaller goods and typically kind of more on we're sort of going more and more into kind of the food and supplement sector. That's kind of seems where naturally we're progressing into actually.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, that's cool. And have you turned business down? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough to do.
I feel like I need to be in the fulfillment business, turning business away.
It's something I've wrestled a lot with. Yeah. Because I think any founder doesn't want to turn down business.
No.
And it's a lot of time. I really, really tussle with myself to do it. Yeah. Because I don't want to, but I know in the long run, it's not the right fit for us. Yeah. Where we want to go and where we want to grow. And ultimately, it's not going to be fair on the e-com brand to take a brand that's not fair for us. So I think mutually, it has to have the respect for Arlo and for the brand that's approaching us as well.
Yeah. No, fair. That makes a lot of sense. And how many people did you have to hire when you first set out?
We first set out, it was just me and my wife that founded it. Yeah. And we both started out.
For how long?
For a good, probably 6 months, I'd say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Until we could start sort of getting extra help in to come in and sort of pick and pack. But to begin with, it's all about kind of doing everything right.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I saw a video. It was quite funny. Jeff Bezos, he basically was talking about how when he first set out, he had a small team or whatever, and he said they didn't, they were just literally pick and packing off the floor. And I think it was after like a month or something, they were like, oh God, our knees are killing, our backs are killing. And apparently he was like, we need to get knee pads. And then someone turned around apparently and was like, no, we just need sorting tables, and actually stand up and do the job or whatever. But yeah. And okay, so 6 months in, it was just you and your wife.
Yeah.
Where did it go from there?
So it's kind of evolved now into, as we've grown, we've grown physically in the warehouse. So we're still in the same warehouse for now that we founded in.
Yeah.
But obviously equipment's changed. We've got more racking in the warehouse. It's more pick faces. It's sort of developing that. So, looking back now at pictures from 6 months ago to where we are now, is just a night and day difference in the warehouse. You can't really recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now there's just more processes. There's more, functionality, more systems. There's more procedures to make sure everything stays clean.
What's the square footage?
I think we're about
circa
3,000-4,000.
Oh, right.
So small space.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And
we do have, a second depot, which I think's 50,000-60,000 up in Derby now, which we've also just taken on in the last 2 months, which we do have some D2C brands, and also that's kind of more focused on the B2B pallet side as well.
Got you. Oh, okay. And will it be a case of taking on full sites, or I've come across there's a model where you can essentially go and occupy, X amount of an already existing site?
Yep.
What's the strategy?
I think a full site, especially for our sort of main site, I think it's nice to have the full facility.
Nice.
And it's got a full jurisdiction, and especially when it comes to security, that's such a big important thing for us. So I think having sort of the full site for us will be kind of.
And where are you at in capacity at the minute?
That's a good question. I would probably say
circa.
We're close. We're getting close to 100%.
Oh,
I think we're not all too far away.
Yeah.
And I think with the growth that we're currently getting, it's we're looking at probably a 2026 move.
I'm going to ask quite naive questions here because I've never ran or set up a fulfillment site. But like when you talked about, inputting more racking and putting more systems, is that easy to do? When you talk about like warehouse design and the racking and things like that, is that an easy thing to do?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I think, especially when you're taking a working operation, and you're trying to then upgrade it constantly, and develop the infrastructure and change things while you're moving. It is difficult, especially because the day-to-day, when the sort of the warehouse is open and the orders are flying out the door, it's busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of moving pieces that we're all kind of managing and dealing with. So then trying to, create extra infrastructure, or having a construction day, or implementing a new process or system, it takes a lot. It does take a lot.
And is it you drawing up the blueprints, or are you bringing somebody in to do that? Like
myself.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And have you always known how to do that?
No.
Just,
I think I've seen a lot, growing up.
Yeah.
I think that, I probably got a lot of exposure that not a lot of people would.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing, but it's also a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
It's us working out what works, what doesn't work. And I think I didn't want to go in and, fully sort of kit out and fully do, the whole thing from day one, because it was like, especially in the e-com space, each customer can be so different from the next. Yeah. And everyone has different requirements. Everyone has different needs that we have to accommodate for and tend to. So it doesn't make sense to sort of fully maximize everything from day one. But what's been really great is sort of growing with each customer and developing with each customer. Yeah. And it's we've learned a lot, and we've learned, what works for some customers and what doesn't work for other customers. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's also, you learn as you grow.
Mm-hmm. And when you mention some of the systems and processes and doing it really cleanly, could you give me an example of what that might look like?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of small fulfillment centers that will start out without a warehouse management system,
right?
Which is just very difficult. And that warehouse management system, what that will do is that will connect to the customer's stores. Mm-hmm. So that will be connecting to their Shopify store, their Amazon marketplace, their TikTok shop.
Yeah,
that will pull all the orders into our system.
Yeah,
that will then allow the team to then pick, pack, and dispatch through that system. And what they'll do is they'll go and pick an item, they'll barcode scan it, they'll take it back to the packing bench, it'll be scanned again.
Yeah.
So there's lots of steps there to ensure that everything's picked and packed accurately. Mm-hmm. And that also then is the master, so it manages all the stock inventory as orders are being scanned out and stock's being scanned into the warehouse. Mm-hmm. It's all being tracked. And that's also tracking across all their marketplaces, so all their stocks in sync.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that's quite an integral brain of the whole operation.
Yeah.
So trying to do that without, which we could have tried, to cut corners or save a bit of money at the beginning, because it's not cheap to implement that sort of system and tech into your warehouse, but it will arise a lot of issues that your customers will take the brunt of and cost them money ultimately.
And for a small, let's say, 4,000 square foot site, how much would it cost, circa, for a system like that?
For a system,
you're
probably looking somewhere between £500 to £1,000 a month.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
But then I guess 50 to 60,000 square foot. Yeah.
You're going up. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And just to get profile then, like, how much are you guys turning over now?
I think we're on track to probably turn over about 500,000.
Nice. And is there a financial goal in mind and a financial plan? Or
I think there is. I think I don't focus on that too much. For us, it's more about the growth and kind of building up our order volume as well. So definitely, we want that number to keep going up, of course. And there's definitely sort of goals in mind there. But I think ultimately as well, for us, it's growing, but also maintaining that positive feedback from the customers and that positive, consistent feedback as well. What we don't want is to sort of keep growing and losing that sort of
overstretch and then almost under. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. So you mentioned that you co-founded the business with your wife, Beth.
Yeah.
What sort of skill sets do you think you bring, and what sort of skill sets do you think she brings, and how has that been, doing it as a business partnership, but then also as a couple?
Yeah, I think we both bring very different skill sets to the table, which is huge. She's very finance focused, very accounts, very kind of methodical and number based. And I think that is huge. That is not my skill set at all. I'm more sales. That's kind of been always my sort of forefront of the skills. And I think together, operationally, we both come in nicely together.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of oversees more of the day-to-day operation on the warehouse floor.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm then kind of more overseeing the account management side with the customer base and the growth and the sales and the kind of the next steps we're going to take. Whereas she's kind of improving the day-to-day operation of everything.
Yeah.
So that's a huge partnership to have. And I think we definitely complement each other in those different skill sets, which I think is what you need when you've got two founders coming together.
Yes.
I would say, it's tough when you're setting up a business, as you'll know, you're all in, and it's long days. It's not 9 to 5 and you clock off. It's, you come home and now you've got more admin to do and more emails to do. And I'd like to say that's calmed down. It's not yet. And it's almost kind of like a 7-day job. It's 24/7. And when you're bringing that home and you're trying to have a weekend off, or you're trying to go out for dinner, and you talk of your marriage, it always turns into a business meeting. Always turns into a business meeting. So I think it's tough to balance it. Luckily for us, it's both our passion and it's both what we love to do. So I think, the love of it.
There's a lot of connection in that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think because we both love it and because we both enjoy business as well, that keeps it stable.
Okay.
But yeah, it's tough to divide the two.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Well, if there was someone watching and they were thinking, I'd love to, set up my own fulfillment company. I'm into e-commerce. I, got a fairly good grasp of the logistics or warehousing market. What advice would you give them?
Don't cut corners.
Yeah.
Don't cut corners. It's easy to kind of look at your initial costs, and it costs a lot to get set up, with the space, with the systems you need.
Yeah.
But it's not worth cutting the corner. Customers will see it. you'll see it and you'll feel it, and your customers will feel it, and it'll cost you both money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say, plan out what you need, make sure you've got the infrastructure and the sort of the financial backing to get all the right systems in place and the right processes in place in order to consistently provide a good service.
And are you guys investor backed, or is it all privately?
All sort of bootstrapped.
Privately backed, right? Okay, bootstrapped. Okay. And how much would you say you would need pot sum of money to get going?
I think it's a very open-ended question.
Yeah.
Because it depends what space you sort of kick off with. Depends what systems you kick off with. So it can fluctuate. Depends if if you're sharing a space that you've got. I knew someone that set up and they sort of had a space that they had 12 months rent free.
Oh, right.
So they didn't need all that much to kind of
get going.
Whereas if you want to go out there and rent a warehouse, you could be looking at, £3,000 a month to kick off just on your warehouse space.
Yeah.
Plus then another £1,000 on your systems and your backing. So it's a part of being smart.
Yeah.
And being wise with where you're taking on to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's not a cheap thing to get into, which I think, we don't see too many people starting up in fulfillment. I think, the COVID boom, we did see that.
Yeah.
And we did see more 3PLs being born, which was nice. But I think a lot of the time it's the big players and kind of the old school firms that are in the space, because it's tough to get into.
Yeah.
It's costly to get into.
It's a high barrier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which kind of makes it a good business to, I guess, some degree.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you do see more and more people now that are perhaps don't really have a logistics background that kind of see it and want to get into it, which is great.
Yeah.
I think, there's nothing wrong with, obviously like myself, I've come into it new. And I think it's great to bring new ideas, but it's just making sure that, the right processes and systems are in place.
Yeah. Got you. Okay. What would you say the biggest challenge has been for you guys?
I think it's kind of the ever evolving, it's in the logistics space, there's so many things that can happen. Things can crop up. And in like any business, especially as a founder, you're often problem solving things you never thought you'd have to problem solve.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of that. And I think just when you think it's going to be a nice chilled day or a nice chilled week, another problem comes. Something else comes that you have to fix and you have to sort. And that's all part of what, we've signed up to do.
Go on, give us an example of, like, even if it's small or weird and wonderful, like what sort of things can crop up that
I think,
it could be unexpected.
Yeah, it could be, like a customer shipment coming in that's, been delayed, and now they're depleting on their stock. So now the stock's going to come in, they've got back orders, and, we would then maybe step up and step in to, stay late and get those orders out. Might have to process a shipment really quickly for them to kind of be able to fulfill those back orders and help that customer out. Yeah. So, there's logistics coming in with the transport. There's logistics going out when we hand over to a courier. Yeah. It's sent in a logistics warehouse. So there's lots of moving parts to it. Yeah. And lots of other people in the chain that we don't have control over. Yeah. But we might have to adapt to.
Got you. Yeah. Fair. And you mentioned, Phil Reese earlier, who's been on the podcast, that you've recently partnered with Shipmax. Where are you at with partnerships? Is it still quite embryonic? Are you there to make more partnerships? And what does that sort of look like for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Like you mentioned, Phil was a good partner because it's especially for a small business, it's trying to get into marketing spend. Yeah. For us, it's been very much, referrals from other fulfillment centers that we made partnerships with, which I think is a really nice model. Yeah. Because we pass things that we can't deal with, they pass things they can't deal with, and everyone's sort of helping each other out. Yeah. That, and for us, it's kind of been a lot of old school, if you call it, sales and outreach and all of that sort of good stuff to get where we have. So for us to kind of then step into marketing,
Mm-hmm.
it's, you can look at SEO, you can look at Google ads, and that's just a whole other ball game, and you've got to throw a lot of money at it to figure it out. And that's not my background and expertise. So with Phil, it was with the lead exchange, it was, we can pay X amount to Shipmax, and we can get leads, and we've got a marketing stream coming in. So that was a really solid partnership. But for us, we're looking at partnerships more that can benefit our customers now.
I hear you.
So we partner with a company called Cap Release, which helps provide funding to e-commerce brands.
Right.
So they're plugged into our system. So it's all nice and clean and safe for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And it means that our e-commerce brands that are with us can help get funding for new stock and things like that, and for helping marketing campaigns and all of that sort of good stuff. So we're looking at more partnerships that can benefit our customers, whether that might be people more in the marketing space, and the e-commerce marketing, whether that might be people more in custom packaging, or people more sort of tech-enabled that can help with TikTok Shop and Amazon Shop. Things like that is what we're sort of looking for to kind of add that value add.
Got you. And I guess it's you being. I guess that's you being sticky to the ecom brand. More reasons for them not to leave if they're getting slightly added benefits through, I guess, partnerships essentially.
Absolutely, I think
that's cool.
We always try and go beyond just picking and packing.
We recently had a guest on, actually, really cool company called Revenue, and they basically process refunds before the person's even physically returned the item, which I think helps with customer experience and all of that.
Absolutely, all these tools that are out there that can improve our customers as well. It's along the chain. It's those sorts of things are sort of much more important sometimes than picking and packing efficiency.
Got you. Okay, what's the in the next 5 to 10 years, where do we want to, where would you expect to see Arlo Fulfilment, and what does that look like?
Absolutely. I think
champagne vision.
Would like to have had 1 to 2 domestic moves into bigger facility. Also, I mentioned our second facility, so really kind of maxing that larger space out now. In sort of the more B2B side is sort of key for us. I would also love to expand internationally as well. So I'd love to have a US fulfillment site, maybe a more Central Europe facility. I think especially with what's happened in America, with sort of the customs and tariffs change, as of late, it's probably not as lately anymore. Having a facility there where we could help our brands here really kind of push into the States more, that would be kind of a real key move for us in the next 5 years.
Nice. Okay. Well, just to round off, I'm gonna finish with some quick fire questions. So, what's been the best moment with Arlo Fulfilment?
I think it's been getting our first handful of customers in, and seeing the responses that we've had back. I think whenever we get a piece of feedback from a customer, a nice review, a nice message, which we consistently get, it's that to me beats everything else around. Is kind of hearing that they're happy, we've helped them, we've saved them on something, we're delivering consistently. That is kind of the best thing that I can see. This one's going to cause a domestic, but like if you were to take one of the co-founders out, who's going to make the business last longer? Beth. Yeah. Got ya. She would make it last longer. I think finance is key. Probably worth mentioning, Beth is here in the studio. She is, so I'm being careful what we say. But I think, ultimately the financial aspect of the business is fundamental. If you were to change the name and it wasn't going to be part of Arlo, the Arlo enterprise, what would it be? I think it'd probably be something around our name. So the last name's Kaye.
Yeah.
So I think we'd probably go on something a bit generic with like Kaye Logistics, or I think that's kind of what I was throwing around.
Strong, sturdy.
Yeah. I think was kind of flirting around there, or we're trying to go for a little bit of like, I think some of our ideas was a little bit of like a cheesy thing on parcels. But I'm glad we've done a bit of a name that I think stands out.
I was going to say the good news is the name's great and definitely doesn't need changing. The brand's really good and clean. So
appreciate it.
So yeah, no, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
No, thank you for having me.